Now after you have the 4 pieces, the 2 in the whatever color you had for your dog, in my case it's the gray, and then 2 of the white, go ahead and take 2 of the pieces. We're going to crochet the pieces together. And what I usually do before starting is I take the 2 loose yarn ends at the bottom of the triangle and just tie a knot. And then I also tie a knot on the tip of the triangle, those loose yarn ends. And then you're ready to crochet the 2 pieces together. So you just take your crochet hook, you go into that bottom stitch, go through both the white portion and the gray portion, and then you're going to bring up a loop with your same colored yarn as your dog. Then you're going to chain 1, and then just tie a knot with the same colored yarn, loose yarn ends. We're going to tuck these loose yarn ends towards the inside of the triangle later. Now you're ready to crochet up the side of the triangle. So you go ahead and chain 1 to start, and then you're going to evenly space the single crochets up the edge of the ear, and you're crocheting the 2 pieces together. So go ahead and bring up a loop, and then you're just going to make your single crochet. And when you're working up the side like this, you don't have a stitch that you can see. You're kind of making your stitches as you go up the side, and that's why I say that you evenly space the stitches as you go. And when you reach the tip of the ear, come back and I'll show you how I turned and started working down the opposite side. So just 1 single crochet in every stitch up the side, crocheting the 2 pieces together. This is how my work looks so far, and this is what it looks like on the opposite side. I've reached the top, and I have my 2 loose yarn ends. I'm going to tuck those towards the inside. You can trim them too if you want. I'm going to trim mine. Then I'm going to finish lining up my ear, and then in the tip of the ear I'm going to place 2 single crochet. So I'm going to go through the tip of the ear on both sides after I've tucked my loose yarn ends in. Do that again. Grabbing my loose yarn end, so make sure that's in. So 2 single crochet into the tip of the ear. Then you're ready to turn your work and start working down the opposite side. So in the rest of the stitches, I just place 1 single crochet just evenly spaced down the opposite side. And then I'm leaving the bottom open. This is how my ear looks after crocheting all around the edge. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the ear onto the dog. Now when you sew the ear, I'll show this again later, you're going to be sewing the back gray portion with the gray colored yarn or whatever yarn you used for the main color of your dog. The front is going to be sewn by the white color. So go ahead, take your other ear and sew the two pieces, crochet the two pieces together just like we did for this ear. Now after you finish crocheting your ear pieces together, go ahead and set them aside. We're going to make the body first before we sew the ears on. So the body is going to be made the exact same way that you made the head. So remember, with the head we increased to 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 6th stitch, which gave us a stitch count of 42. So now with the body you're going to increase the same way. The only difference is I made one more increase round. So the last increase round on the body is going to be 1 single crochet into 6 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 7th stitch, and that will give you a stitch count of 48 in the round. Then after you finish making all of your increase rounds, then you're going to take and just move your yarn marker up, and you're going to be making 1 single crochet in every stitch around until you've completed 24 rounds. So 24 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. This is what my work looks like after finishing 24 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Then you can go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off. We're going to start closing. So for the first decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 6 stitches, and then you're going to make your decrease stitch or single crochet 2 stitches together, and then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. 1 single crochet into 6 stitches and then your decrease stitch. Then for the next decrease round, 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then your decrease stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. Then you can go ahead and take your craft stuffing and stuff the body as you're closing. I just use an inexpensive pillow from Walmart to stuff mine. Then I just take my yarn marker and move it up and then make 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then make my decrease stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around, and it'll just slowly close the end. You could stuff more into there if you need to. Then 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then your decrease stitch. Then 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then your decrease stitch. Then 1 single crochet and then your decrease stitch. Then you can go ahead and remove the yarn marker and you're just going to make decrease stitches around until you can't make any more decrease stitches. And then you're just going to slip stitch it closed. So you just take and skip a stitch, go into the next stitch over, then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you just keep making slip stitches all the way around until the body is completely closed. So I'm going to make one more and then finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Then you can take the loose yarn end, put it onto your tapestry needle, and just kind of take it through the work anywhere on the body, and sometimes I'll go through a second time. And then you can just take and cut the loose yarn end. That buries it into your work. Now you're going to take and stuff the head, and then take the long end that you left for sewing, or the same colored yarn as the head, put it onto your tapestry needle, And then you're going to decide which side you want for the front of the body. So for mine, I'm going to use the side that I closed with. And then you just take and line up the head with the front of the body. Make sure that you keep the nose straight as you sew. So you just make sure that you have the face facing forward. Then you can take and sew the head to the body. Don't worry if you don't get it every stitch sewn on, because you can make several rounds. The important thing is, for this first round, is that you keep the head facing in the direction that you want, because whatever way you sew it on is the way that your dog's going to look. So if you want it to look one way, you could sew it that way, but I like to have mine just looking straight. And you can see how I go in and out along the edge of the head into the body as I sew. And like I said, I will make several rounds to make sure that the head is sewn on to the body. But this first round is just to secure it so that it's looking in the direction that I want. Then in the back of the head, you could put a little wrinkle into the back of the head if you want, by just folding down that bottom portion of the head and then just coming out with your tapestry needle, and you just kind of sew the fold into the body. I'm just making sure that the front of the face is still straight. And then you can see how I'm just kind of sewing a little fold into the back of the head as I'm securing it. Now when I run out of yarn, I'm going to take and get some more of the same colored yarn, and I'm going to join it in the back. So I'm going to leave a long end for burying into my work, and then I'm just going to get more yarn, and then I'm just going to take and join really close to where my loose yarn end is. And then again, I'm going to leave a loose yarn end that's kind of long so that I can bury it into my work. And then I'm just going to tie a knot and then continue sewing with my new yarn. And the whole time I'm making sure that the head is still straight. So now you can see that my head is sewn on nicely. I have the little wrinkle in the back. And I finished where I have my other loose yarn ends. I'm going to go ahead and finish tying a knot. And then you can go ahead and bury your loose yarn ends. Just take your tapestry needle, and then you can bury them anywhere that you want. For mine, I just kind of I always go right where I tied the knot, and then I'm just going to go right through the fold. And then for mine, I like to go a couple directions and then trim the loose yarn end. So now you're ready to sew the chin piece on. So first what I'm doing is I'm going to take my short loose yarn end. This is the long end that I left for sewing. Just going to put that onto my tapestry needle, and then you're going to line it up with the point of the triangle on the other design. So you're just going to go right in the point of the triangle on the design, because I want to have the edge of the chin strap line up with the point of that triangle. And then you're just going to go ahead and tie a knot. And then for now, you can just leave it. We'll bury it later. I just want it to hold there so that it won't be crooked. And then I'm going to take the long end that I left for sewing, put that onto my tapestry needle, and then you're going to take and sew this piece to the point on the other side. And you're also going to sew it down to the head. So I've got some of the head where I went through the head and sewed it. And then the whole time I'm also going to be stitching it so that there's no gray showing through. So I'm going to go back and forth, making sure that the edge is sewn to the triangle edge. So same thing here. I'm going to go through, make sure that there's no gray showing through. At the same time, I'm just going to sew it down to the head. And then I'm going to be sewing it to the snout. So I'm going to line up the bottom of the snout and just sew the edge all the way across. And you're going to do this all the way across and then sew it down also along the edge here and then come back. So this is what mine looks like so far, and then I just kind of got a little bit left over, so I'm going to add more white yarn and finish sewing. And then of course I just leave enough for a loose yarn end and then just tie a knot and then just continue sewing along the edge. This is what it should look like when you're finished. And now we're ready to sew the ears in place. Go ahead and grab one of your ears, and we're going to sew the white portion first, so you're going to need some white yarn on your tapestry needle. And then we're going to line up the ear on your dog. Oops, get this lined up. So you're going to use the magic circle at the top of the head to line up your ear, and you're only going to have about a finger width between the ears. So right outside of the center, this magic circle loop, one stitch over, is where the first side of the ear will be. And you're going to kind of squeeze to form a little triangular indentation, and you're going to sew down the white portion of the ear. So make sure that you hold the ear in place, and then you just take your tapestry needle and you just go in and out, sewing that triangular portion. And then you're just going to come out and back in, and then come back out right where your edge of the loose yarn end is. You can always reposition the ear again once you finish, and go ahead and tie a knot to secure it. Then you're just going to take and reposition the ear again. So I lined up the side of the ear with the magic circle, making sure that my ear is still pointy, and then I have this little triangular indentation, and then I just keep sewing the white portion of the ear, just going in and out and sewing it in place. Then I just finish right where I started, just tie a knot. And when you cut it, make sure that you leave enough of a loose yarn end for burying into your work. And then we'll bury the loose yarn ends later. Now we're just going to secure the gray portion. So you're going to take the gray portion, put that onto your tapestry needle, and then you're just going to sew the gray portion down. So make sure you realign it so that you're right outside of the magic circle. And then you're going to come up towards the back, and you want to make sure that the back is lined up the way that you want. You want the ear to be pointy and sticking straight up, so make sure that as you sew it that you maintain the ear the way that you want. And then I just take and sew down into the head and along the back edge of the gray portion of the ear. This is how my ear looks so far. And then you would sew the other ear on the exact same way. Just make sure that they line up. You don't want one ear here and then one ear here. So make sure that they line up equally and they look the same, symmetrical or even on both sides. Now when I finished sewing the gray portion, I usually tie the knot on the back part of the ear. So I'm just going to show you how I do that. You want to make sure that the knot is flush with the ear, so you can't really tell. And then once you've tied your knot, go in right where you finished off, and then go up into the ear. Make sure that you don't go through to the white portion. And then I usually go through a couple of times. And then I'm going to go back down. I want to make sure that it doesn't come out, the loose yarn end, and it's not going through to the front. And then I just trim it. You're going to do the same thing with the white portion. You go up into the white portion without coming through to the back, and then bury your loose yarn ends the same way. And this is what mine looks like after I'm finished. I'm just going to give you a close-up. So here you could see I have the magic circle right in the center, about a finger's width apart. And here I'm just going to show you I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches towards the edge of the ear. And then on the other side the same thing. And then you can see how it's lined up so one ear is not in front of the other. And then this is what it looks like on the back. So you can have a lot of fun with a different look for your dog. As you can see, I really love the eyes on this dog best, but this one also looks good. So you can have fun with your dog, making yours very unique. So now I'm going to show you how to make the legs. So all 4 paws are going to be made the same way. So for this one I just used the same color all the way up, but I'm also going to show you how you can add color to the paw too. So we're going to start with the white colored yarn, and we're going to make a magic circle. So you're going to drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And then you're going to take and bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you're going to hold the base of the 6 single crochet with your forefinger and thumb. And then you're going to close the circle. Again, if it doesn't close, let go, pull on the other one. And then pull in the loose yarn end. Then turn your work. And then you're going to work into that first stitch in the round. You're going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round, and then come back. Then you can take and close the center of the magic circle if you need to by gently pulling on the loose yarn end on the back. Then go ahead and take your yarn marker and place it right where you left off. We're going to make some increase rounds. We're going to make 3 increase rounds. So you're going to make, the first one is 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And it is going to be consecutive, so it'll be in order 1, 2, and then 3. But for this increase round is 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. Then it's 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. Then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then the last increase round is 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the fourth stitch. So that was our last increase round, and you should have 30 stitches total in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 round of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So only 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 1 round. Then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and we're going to make 9 decrease stitches. So you're going to go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch over and bring up a loop, then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 for 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to finish 9 of them. 5. I'm just going to go ahead and finish it with you. 6, 7, 2 more, 8, and 9. And you could see how it makes a little outpouching. Go ahead and turn it so the pouch has the loose yarn end on the inside. Then you're going to take and make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches back to the yarn marker, and then come back. So now you're going to take and move the yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around. If you're making your paw all white colored like this one, you're going to go ahead and just continue 1 single crochet around for 30, not 30, for 18 rounds if you're making it all white. Now, if you want to add a little color at the top, I'm going to show, you can go ahead and stop after you make 9 rounds. So if you're making all white, go ahead and finish your 18 rounds. And if you want to see how to make the color change, come back after 9 rounds. So for those of you that are making the color change, I just finished the 9 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now you're going to go ahead and continue making 1 single crochet around until you are at the back of the paw. I hate it when there's different color yarn mixed in with the white, but can't see it, so I'll just let that go. I don't know if you caught that. Looks like there's a little pink or something in the yarn, but you can't really see it, so I'm just going to let it go. So now I'm in the back of the paw. Here's the front. I'm in the back. I'm going to go ahead, go into the next stitch over and bring up a loop. And then I'm going to join the same colored yarn as the main color of my dog, which is gray. Just going to bring up a loop with the gray color, and then I'm going to chain one. Then I'm going to go ahead and take and cut the previous color, and then just tie a knot. Then you just take and continue crocheting one single crochet into every stitch around with your new color. Now I made 2 of mine with the white color, so I finished 18 rounds with the white colored yarn. So I'm going to make 2 of them with the gray colored yarn for the top stitches. So I always changed color. You could change color at any point that you want. For mine, I'm doing it after I reach the 9th round. Actually 9.5 rounds. So now you're going to have the same amount of rows, so you need a total of 18. So you can see how I have 18 with the white for one leg, and then now I'm going to do half and half with this one. And then once you reach the 18 total rows, come back and I'll show you how to close. So I finished 18 rounds of one single crochet in every stitch around, and I made 9 of them. I changed colors, and this is what the other one looks like with all the same color. Now you can go ahead and stuff the paw with some craft stuffing. Then you can take and remove the yarn marker, then go up to where you left off, and you're just going to make decrease stitches around. Until you're almost closed, and then come back and I'll show you how to slip stitch it closed. So decrease rounds or single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around until you're almost closed. So here you can see I'm almost closed. So make sure that you're stuffed, the leg is stuffed with as much stuffing as that you want for your leg or paw. Then just skip a stitch, go into the next stitch over, then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. And you're just going to keep doing this all the way around until the paw is completely closed. And then you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So for mine, I'm making 2 just like this for the front, and then 2 made the exact same way except all in the same color for the back paws. As soon as you're finished with the paw and you have your loose yarn end, just put it onto your tapestry needle, go right in where you tied your knot, and then I make a couple of passes anywhere, come out anywhere on the leg, and then go ahead and trim the loose yarn end. So as soon as you finish all of your paws, and again I made 2 the same for the front and then 2 the same for the back, go ahead and set them aside. I'm going to show you how to make the tail first. So for the tail, you're going to start with the main color of your dog, and we're going to make a magic circle. So go ahead and drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, thumb to stabilize, wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers, hold the yarn with your thumb and pinky finger. Go under those 2 loops around the middle finger, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then go ahead and close the magic circle just like we've done before. And again, you're going to make 2 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 12. we're going to be making 2 increase rounds. The first one is 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch, and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. And then the last increase round will be 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. Then you're just going to take your yarn marker and move it up, and now you're just going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 22 rounds. So 22 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So after you finish 22 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and make a slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the tail onto your dog. Go ahead and set this aside. Now we're going to make the white portion that goes on the tail. So you're going to take and just fold the white yarn over on itself to form a loop. Then take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop through middle finger and thumb, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to make a chain of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're going to go into the second chain from the hook, bring up a loop, make your single crochet, and then you're going to go into the same stitch and make another single crochet in the same stitch. So 2 single crochet in the same stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So far you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 single crochet into the last stitch, which would give you a total stitch count of 8. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into every stitch back across. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then make a single crochet into the next stitch and every stitch back across, and then you're going to chain 1 and repeat. So each row should have an 8 stitch count, and you're going to keep repeating this until you have the length of your tail. So keep repeating it until you reach the end of your tail. So for mine, I finished about 20 rows. Then, when you finish the size that you want, go ahead and finish off. So you just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew it onto the tail. So go ahead and stuff your tail before we do that. And I just wanted to show you for one of the dogs, you could see how I sewed the white portion onto the tail. So I'm going to show you how you can also make the loops on the tail. So for mine, I just put a little bit of stuffing in. I don't want to overstuff it, so I just put a little bit of stuffing inside and then kind of spread it out on the tail. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the long end that I left for sewing, put my tapestry needle on it, and then I'm just going to sew it in place all along the edge. So I just go in and out, just sewing right around the whole edge. Make sure that you don't go through the other side as you're sewing. You only want to sew it along the one side of the tail. so not on the opposite side. Now if you have enough left over, you can go ahead and tie a knot. And then you can make your first loop if you're making a loop. If you're not making the loops, then you can go ahead and just finish off and you're ready to sew your tail onto the dog. But for me, I'm going to make the small loops. So I'm going to get some more yarn now. I made my first loop on the end. And then just take and make as many loops as you want. I'm going to make a few long ones on the end here. So I'm going to make a little bit of a larger loop right on the end. So about 2 inches. And then I'm just going to make a few more loops on the end. So this is what it looks like. Then you can just start going down the tail on the white portion only and just making your loops. So I'm making all of my loops about the same size. And I'm going to finish making the loops all the way back down the tail. So for mine, I'm just going to go halfway. So I'm just going to go to about right here with my loops. But you could go as far as you want, depending on what look you want for your dog. And then I just took and cut the loops and just tied a knot. So cut each of the loops and I just tied a knot. That way I can trim the tail hairs if I want to. So you can have fun with the look of your dog and just, you can either leave the loops off if you don't really want to do this, or if you like the look of the loops, you can make a little fuzzy look this way. And then another fun way to do it is using Pipsqueak yarn, the white fuzzy yarn. So as soon as I finish tying all the knots, I'll show you how I trimmed the hair. So I cut all the loops and tied a knot, and this is how it looks so far. So on the dog, you're going to sew this onto the dog so that this is hanging down. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it on now. So you just take and line it up with the back of the dog, and you have the long end that you left for sewing. So you just take and line up where you would like the tail. You need to center it onto the back, and then once you have it lined up where you want it, and mine is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows up. I'm going to center it, and then I just take my sewing needle and thread, and then just take and sew it to the dog. So once the tail is sewn in place, you can see how you can kind of flip it over onto the back. And if you want, you could sew it in place, or you can just leave it the way it is. You can trim the tail hairs the way that you want. I'm probably going to add some more later because I think I like that look where it kind of folds over on the back. So I'm going to play with it a little bit, but first I'm going to show you how to sew the legs on. So first I want to show you how to sew the paws on. You want to make sure that you have the front part of the paw facing forward, and then you want the same colored yarn as the area that you're going to be going through. So I'm going to go about starting from here, let's say from the center, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go down from this, the side of the leg, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go right here with my tapestry needle, right in the center. And again, I have the front of the paw facing forward, and then you're going to come out on the opposite side at the same level. And you want to come through the hole or the opening in your crochet work, and then just bring the yarn through and have enough yarn to where you're going to go through the leg, both legs and the body twice. And you want to leave enough of a loose yarn end for tying a knot and burying into your work. Then you're going to line up the leg with the front of the body. So you want to line it up to where the top of the body is in line with the top of the leg. And you also want to line up the leg on the side of the body with the ear, or in line, the imaginary line going up to the ear. Once you have the dog's leg the way that you want it facing, and again, make sure that the front paw is facing forward, then you're going to look and see where you want the yarn to go through on the body. Take your tapestry needle and then just go around that area. About a stitch over is fine, and then go through to the opposite side. Now you want to try to come out on the opposite side at the same area. So say you're counting from the center of the chest, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I still want to be in line with the ear too. So I'm going to go about a stitch or two over. Make sure that I'm equal on both sides. And then you just come out on the opposite side with your tapestry needle, and you can see I'm in line with the ear and I'm level. So I'm going to bring it through. And you want to leave about an inch or two of yarn between the leg and the body. And then you're going to take the other leg and make sure that the paw is facing forward. And again, you're going to go down from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, about a 5 rows down, and directly in the center. My paw is facing forward. And then just go out on the opposite side at about the same level. And again, you want about an inch or two between the legs and the body. And then you just go through about a stitch over, back through to the opposite side. And you're always within a stitch of where you go in or out. And then this side I pull it all the way through. And then you're going to go back through the body. About a stitch away again. And then you're going to come out on the other side without poking yourself. And then back through the opposite leg, and then back out where you came from. And you're going to do this twice. So go ahead, go back through again the same way, and then I always go about a stitch around where my other stitches are, and then come back. So now you can see I've gone through twice, and now you're ready to take and pull both of those loose yarn ends on the end, and make sure that you don't yank too hard because you may snap your yarn. And you may need to pull one yarn and then the other one, and then you just pull it until the legs are snug. Make sure that they're equal too, and then just pull them snugly, as snug as you want, and then you tie your knot. Then after you tie your knot, you have your loose yarn ends for burying. Just double check, make sure it's secure against the body, and you can see how you can move the legs up and down. Then you just take and bury the loose yarn ends. So you just take a loose yarn end, you go right in where you tied your knot, and then come up anywhere on the leg. And then I always go back down and out anywhere. And then you just take and cut your loose yarn end. So go ahead, bury your loose yarn ends, and then you're going to put the back legs on the same way. So you can see how I'm putting the back legs on, making sure that I have my paws facing forward. Also, you want to make sure that you're lined up equally with the front legs. You don't want one to be higher and one lower. So you can see how I've added a little bit more fluff for the tail. And you can trim it and add as much as you want if you like this look for your dog, so that way it can fold up and curl over the body. And then this is what it looks like when the tail is down. Now the legs are on the body, and she can stand, and then she can also sit. So now I'm going to show you, if you want to make the toenails, I'm going to show you how to make the toenails. Now you can choose whatever color that you want for the toenails. I'm using this Red Heart Super Saver. The color is Shocking Pink. And the reason I'm choosing the pink color is because this is where you can have fun too, by just getting some pet clothes. This is a real pet outfit, and the size is extra small. Here's some more information. This is by Bond Company. And some more information here. If you're lucky, you can find some pet outfits on sale, like this one. This one would fit the large dog. The only problem is, I got this one from Walmart, but this one isn't as cute as some of the outfits that you can find, but of course you're going to pay. The reason why I like this one from Petco is because it has the soft, furry part and the nice zipper and bows with the little beautiful jewel on the back. But I really like this one that I got from Walmart too, and this is going to be for one of the larger dogs, and I only paid $5 for this one. And I'm also going to use this Good to Go dog collar. It's a small. This is some information on that. It has a little cute design on it. And I'm also going to put the little dog tag. Her name's going to be Dixie. So this is what she looks like with her pet collar and name tag. Looks adorable. And then her little pink outfit fits nicely. Now I'm going to show you how to make her little toenails. So go ahead and get whatever color yarn that you want for the toenails and put it onto the tapestry needle. And then you're going to kind of find out where the forefront is of the paw, and then you want to find the center. So this is the center, and then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then down 1, 2, 3 rows, and then I'm going to come up with my tapestry needle through the paw, And make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end for tying a knot and burying in your work. Then just take your tapestry needle, go straight down right where you went in, and then you're going to come out on the center. So just like that. So then you finished one side of the claw. Then you're going to go straight down, and you're going to come out on the round, the round that you first started. So straight down, and then in the round where you first started. Then you're going to go up 3 stitches over, 1, 2, 3. So equal distance between this one, and then come up. And then you made the center. Then you're going to go straight down. And again, you want to go right along that same curvature. And then come out where you initially came in for the first time. Then you have the beautiful little claw toenails. Then you just tie a knot. And then you're going to take and trim. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end that you can bury into your work. Just place the yarn onto your tapestry needle. You're going to go right in where you tied your knot, and then come out on the back anywhere, and then just trim the loose yarn end. So go ahead, bury your loose yarn ends, and then make all of your toenails.